Welcome to our streaming coverage of Veterans Day. I'm Lauren Prisbel here with Shannon Murray.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here.
Yes.
There are dozens of events honoring veterans all across the DFW area today. We have two huge parades, one in Dallas, one in Fort Worth, that are honoring the men and women who have served our country.
Yeah, we want to check in Dallas right now. They're in Fair Park this morning. This year's Veterans Day parade in Dallas, commemorating the 75th anniversary of the Korean War. All of the streets in and around Fair Park just filled with red, white, and blue. A lot of people out there today, and it is a nice day, very windy, as you can see all of those flags waving there. A lot of people coming out for that event, and some ceremonies today over at Fair Park. Later this morning, they'll be at the Hall of State at Fair Park for some of those ceremonies today.
Yeah, the Dallas mayor obviously there. They've got hundreds of people. I know there's a lot of junior ROTC groups that are going to be in this parade, so you're going to see lots of different high schools represented in the parade. I think they said there's about 65 different parade groups as well that are going to be there. They also have some different displays along the parade route for different people to stop and show their support and just take a moment to honor those who have given us so much, who have given their time and their energy and their families' time and energy too, because when they've been away serving, their families have been home.
Right, and right now here set at the top of the hour, 11 o'clock, they're supposed to have the 11th hour ceremony and flyover. They'll also be having a wreath laying ceremony today, a symbolic laying of the wreath. They'll have taps, they'll have the missing man formation with that flyover. You just mentioned Dallas Mayor Eric Johnson will also do kind of a greeting there for everyone from the city. They also have some representatives from the U.S. Congress who will be there in attendance. And then that parade will go through Fair Park, through the Hall of State for everyone to see them pass through.
All right, I'm going to turn to our director right now and our producer. Do you guys want to go to the president now speaking, or we are going to go ahead and go to
Arlington National
Trump, who is speaking
at
Arlington National Cemetery. Let's listen in.
Thank you very much for being here, Doug. The #1 energy person anywhere in the world, acknowledged. I was amazed that he took the job, and he did it without hesitation. What he gave up, what Doug gave up, what all of them gave up, nobody would ever know. But Secretary Chris Wright, #1 anywhere in the world, acknowledged. And drill, baby, drill, Chris, right? Drill, baby, drill. The energy prices are way down. They're going further. Secretary Linda McMahon, education, moving education back to the states, Linda, right? Getting it back to the states where it belongs. Secretary Lori Chavez DeReamer, thank you, Lori, very much. Director Russ Vogt. Director, thank you. What a good job he's doing. Cutting, but fairly cutting. Director Tulsi Gabbard. Thank you, Director. Ambassador Jamieson Greer, what a job he's done. We've taken in trillions of dollars in tariffs, and we want to keep it that way. It's been good for our country, I can tell you, including national security. General Dan Kane. General, thank you. He's a real general. And congratulations on wiping out the nuclear capability of Iran in about a matter of seconds once they got there. They traveled a total of 37 hours, but once they got there, they were very quick. And also to many other very distinguished guests. We have an amazing group of people. I'd like to name every one of you, but I think a lot of people would be upset. It's a little cold. The pages of American history are filled with the tales of titans, icons, innovators, and trailblazers who built this country into the greatest, most ambitious, and most prosperous nation the world has ever seen. And we brought it to new levels. I'll tell you, we were going in that direction for a period of time, but we've never been hotter than we are right now. This is the hottest country anywhere in the world. Yet every captain of industry, every pioneer of science, and every star whose brilliance has lit up the lights of Broadway all share one thing in common. They only had the chance to soar because the veterans had the courage to serve. They took care of those people. They took care of all the stars. The stars that you read about wouldn't be here without our veterans. Everything we have, everything our country has achieved has been purchased by the muscle, spine, and steel of the United States military. We owe it all to the fierce and noble men and women of the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, Space Force, Coast Guard, and the United States Marines. Is a guy. Our service members, our own words, are the greatest possible tribute to their immortal valor. Shortly before the Battle of Bull Run, Major Sullivan Ballou of Rhode Island became a big name, didn't he? Wrote to his dear wife, Sarah. He said, "I know how great a debt we owe to those who went before us," he said. "And I'm willing, perfectly willing, darling, to lay down all my joys of this life to help maintain this government and to pay that debt." Just 1 week later, Major Ballou did just that. He gave his life to save our country. On the night before he jumped into the dark skies over Normandy on D-Day, Colonel Bull Wolverton knelt with his men in prayer. "Dear God," he said, "we ask only this, that if we die, we must die, and we as men would die without complaining, without pleading, and safe in the feeling that we have done our best for what we believed was right. We must do what is right." Colonel Wolverton, too, died for us so bravely in battle. Today, we remember with overwhelming gratitude the more than 1 million American service members who have made the supreme sacrifice and laid down their lives for the good old USA. Generation after generation, America's warriors have left behind the comforts of home and family to face violence, evil, and death so that our families could know joy, goodness, and peace. We honor them so strongly. Our heroes have lived through unthinkable nightmares so we could live the American dream, and the American dream is coming back again, stronger than ever before, and you'll see that as the next few years evolve. They have volunteered to give their last breaths to all of us so that we could breathe free. And today we know without any doubt in our hearts that after 2.5 centuries, America stands tall because America's veterans stood so strong. And soon our country will be stronger than ever before. The American veteran has forged a legacy of gallantry and daring without parallel in human history. In September 2009, Army Captain William Swenson was driving through the Afghan mountains when his convoy was ambushed by over 60 Taliban insurgents. He and his comrades were pinned down for hours without artillery or air support. A fellow soldier was shot in the chest, and Captain Swenson crossed an open field to aid his brother in arms. People said, "Don't do it, Captain, don't do it." He did it. When the terrorists closed in around them and demanded their surrender, Captain Swenson threw a grenade at the enemy and rallied his men to break their advance. He then carried the wounded soldiers hundreds of yards to a rescue helicopter before charging back 3 times, back and forth into the fire to save the wounded and bring them home. Even after 7 hours of fighting, he refused to leave any man behind. Retired Lieutenant Colonel William Swenson is here with us in Arlington, and for his actions that day, he proudly wears the Congressional Medal of Honor. Colonel Swenson, thank you very much. Thank you very much, please. Thank you. Thank you very much. The ultimate honor. Thank you. Another person who shows the Medal of the American Veteran is Dale Stovall. As an Air Force helicopter pilot in Vietnam, Captain Stovall was assigned to rescue a downed American airman deep in hostile territory. Despite the extreme peril, Captain Stovall took off in his HH-53C helicopter and soon came under intense fire, forcing him to turn back. But the captain refused to abandon his mission. The next day, he willingly plunged back into the danger while taking fire from all directions. He didn't have a chance, he felt, but he said, I got to do it. He rescued the downed American pilot who had been stranded on the ground for 23 days and brought him back home alive, completing the deepest rescue behind enemy lines in the entire Vietnam War. For this and 11 other harrowing rescues, he was a brave guy. Dale received the famous Air Force Cross and the Distinguished Flying Cross and 2 Silver Stars, making him the 4th most combat decorated Air Force Academy grad of all time. He retired as a brigadier general after 31 years of service. General Stovall, you are a legend. Please, thank you. General Stovall. Thank you very much. Thank you. You look good, General. You look good. I wish I looked that good. You look good. Thank you very much, General. America's warriors never quit, never surrender. They fight, 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 and they win, win, win. That's what we do. We win battles. As you know, today is not only Veterans Day, but it's my proclamation that we are now going to be saying and calling Victory Day for World War I. Victory Day. You know, I was recently at an event and I saw France was celebrating Victory Day, but we didn't. And I saw France was celebrating another Victory Day for World War II. And other countries were celebrating. They were all celebrating. We're the one that won the wars. And I said, from now on, we're going to say Victory Day for World War I and World War II. And we could do for plenty of other wars, but we'll start with those 2. Maybe someday somebody else will add a couple of more because we won a lot of good ones. But when I see other countries celebrating Victory Day, I watched it. I watched UK, I watched Russia. They were celebrating Victory Day, World War II. And I said, we got to have a Victory Day. Nobody even talked about it in our country. But from now on, we're going to be celebrating Victory Day for World War I, for World War II, and frankly, for everything else. Under the Trump administration, we're restoring the pride and the winning spirit of the United States military. That's why we have officially renamed the Department of Defense back to the original name, Department of War. And remember, we won World War I, we won World War II, we won everything in between, we won everything that came before, and then we brilliantly decided to change the name of this great thing that we all created together. And we became politically correct. We don't like being politically correct. So we're not going to be politically correct anymore. From now on, when we fight a war, we only fight for one reason, to win. We fight to win. But under my leadership, we're also fighting for the great veterans who have always been there for us, and especially when we needed them and needed them most. In 9 months, the Trump administration has cut the backlog of VA benefit claims in half. That's a big achievement, and Doug is going to get it down to 0. During the Biden administration, the backlog exploded like we had never seen before, and I'm going to eliminate 100% of that backlog. We're moving at that pace, and already we've processed more than 3 million backlog claims, the most of any year in the history of the VA. We've added more than 1 million extra service hours across the VA centers, and we've opened 20 new facilities in 13 states, something that people said just not possible to do. We also have brought back VA choice and VA accountability, taken away by the Biden administration, so that when you have to wait online, you go out and you get yourself a doctor. We pay for the doctor if you have to wait. And the other thing is we fired thousands of people who didn't take care of our great veterans. They were sadists, they were sick people, they were thieves, they were...
You have
you wanna
been
name,
listening
and we
to
got rid of
President
over
Donald Trump
9,000
speaking
of
at the
them.
Arlington National
And then when
Cemetery.
Biden came in,
He thanked our veterans for their courage, saying many people couldn't accomplish what they have if it wasn't for the sacrifices that so many of them have made. And there on the left, you're now looking at the parade in Dallas at Fair Park.
Yes, at Fair Park right now. They just stepped off. Looks like that was the Bryan Adams High School band right there coming through in the green and white, getting ready to go through in front of the Hall of State. They have several ceremonies there today. This year's Dallas Veterans Day Parade theme is the 75th anniversary of the Korean War. We know a lot of city, county, state leaders are all here today. Looks like the band right now getting in place. We've got a lot of local bands and groups and ROTC members who will be participating in this parade, which is really an annual tradition for so many groups this morning.
We heard the president talk about the weather in D.C. I looked at the temperature there. It was 40 degrees with the wind in D.C.
Yep.
We at least have the sun out as well, but we're seeing temperatures starting to warm up a little bit. So thankfully, this is going to be a little better for some of our those that are out at the parade. It is 60 degrees in Dallas right now.
A bit breezy, but
it is a bit
not
breezy,
bad.
but definitely better than those folks in Washington D.C. are seeing. This is a long parade route. It's going to go through several different spots around Fair Park, and we're expecting to see a lot of people lined up and just here to take a moment to honor those who have served. And we have so many in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Right, and I know Paige Ellenberger was out there all morning long talking to different groups about this parade and organizers. She also talked to a third-generation military veteran, a City of Dallas employee, participating in today's parade. We have some sound from that interview that we can listen to.
My dad, John Teipel, Colonel John Teipel, he landed on Utah Beach and fought under Patton during World War II, including the Battle of the Bulge, which was, if you know anything about history, that was quite a conflict.
Yeah, we're able to remember him today, thank him for his service on this Veterans Day. It's also an opportunity to thank thousands of other people who put on the uniform, including yourself too. So thank you, Mr. Teipel, for your service. Why is it important to put on such a big parade, put on such an incredible event every single year on November 11th?
Well, of course, Veterans Day is the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. And basically, it just seems right to pay tribute to all these people that have dedicated their entire lives for our freedom and for protecting our way of life.
Yeah. We have some good weather here today.
There's our flyover.
there we go.
It's not out there, it's not raining, so and we are too. These are some of the pictures from last year's Veterans Day Parade that you are looking at from 2024. Again, this year, 25th anniversary of the Korean War, which is often called the Forgotten War. A lot of times people feel like it's overlooked, earning the name the Forgotten War. More than 37,000 Americans gave their lives. There were more than 100,000 that were wounded in that conflict as well. So they just wanted, I think, take the time to honor those. And more than 1.16 million Korean War veterans that are still with us today. And so they really are highlighting some of those that served in that war.
Right, and he mentioned Veterans Day is always observed on November 11th, on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, really to signify the end of World War I in 1918. So no matter what day of the week, it's always November 11th at this time. And they're going to have some ceremonies happening throughout the morning, but right at 11 a.m. they had that 11th hour ceremony and flyover to take place to signify that point in time. Looks like we see the girls there starting to march, getting ready to step off here at Fair Park. And are we looking now in Fort Worth? This is the Tarrant County Veterans Day Parade as well. They're on the upper left side of your screen. They are over at Panther Island Pavilion in downtown, going down West Belknap Street, around the Tarrant County Courthouse, down Commerce to 5th, west to Houston Street, and then back up Belknap, back to the Panther Island parking lot here this morning in Tarrant County.
And they've decided today they're going to be saluting the Vietnam veterans, saluting all veterans, we should say, but really focusing on those Vietnam veterans. And drivers should just know that these areas, you know where this is Fair Park, you know the area right near the courthouse in downtown Fort Worth as well. So these areas are going to be closed off for a little while as people stop and get their place along the parade route so they can enjoy some of the festivities that are underway. Several junior ROTC groups. We know there are several bands. There are different floats, if you will. There's a couple of those as well that are going to be in some of these parades. But it's interesting because when you go out to these parades, you see time and time again families that do this every single Veterans Day. This is how they choose to honor this day.
Right, and they never want to forget those who served, especially within their own family. I posted on Facebook this morning, share photos of the veteran in your life, and so many people sharing, photos of their husband, their wife, or even a son who has served or is currently serving. So thank you to all those veterans for your service. It's great to see those photos and let people really to share their memories and stories of their loved ones who've served our country.
Oh, and they have stories.
Oh, they have lots of stories. Yes.
My kid's super granddad, as we call him, served, and he's got some stories. I tell you, and I feel like every time we get with him, he lives in Austin, but every time we get with him, you want to sit down, you want to record these stories. I want my little kids to be able to hear what their super granddad went through, their great granddad went through, because a lot of these, a lot of them are getting older, and we're losing them as time goes on, sadly. And we just don't want to lose those stories. These are some cool old cars that looks like some of the veterans have hopped in Fort Worth.
Yeah, you're taking a live look right now at the Fort Worth Veterans Day Parade, going through Tarrant County, through downtown. I think they started over at the Panther Island Pavilion. They just went in front of the courthouse. That's where this camera is stationed right now, giving you that live look. You see a lot of city leaders. It looks like Fort Worth Mayor Maddie Parker there in that car coming through right here off Commerce Street in Tarrant County.
Nice to see a lot of red, white, and blue. We got the flags flying, and it's turning out to be a very nice day for Veterans Day. We've had years in the past where they've had to cancel Veterans Day, events, or they've moved it to another day. But that's not the case today.
Well, and that's a good way to transition too. That the Veterans Day event actually at DFW National Cemetery had to be canceled due to the government shutdown. Of course, not anything to do with the weather, but that cancellation announced a couple weeks ago. So there were some events because of the shutdown, because of the lack of resources or availability this year that they had to shut down. The Texas National Cemetery Foundation saying they had to cancel because many of those assets, the resources, support staff, equipment, and just availability of the cemetery in general was in doubt. So they couldn't really prepare for it the way that they usually would. The uncertainty surrounding the shutdown really just kind of making it tough for those leaders at the cemetery to assure that they could get everything ready and support everything that they need for that annual event that they usually do over there at the DFW National Cemetery. I know that we had a live crew out there last week talking about that and talking to people who were coming out to pay their respects and saying, we've got to find a way to fund this and get it fixed. But they're hoping by Memorial Day that they'll be able to do something bigger or find other ways to honor veterans between now and then.
Yeah, if you haven't been out there, it is something to see.
Right. The flags just lined up.
The flags are beautiful out there. They do such a good job of keeping that cemetery pristine. So always something nice to see. There are lots of. You think about not only, it's a parade where they have to shut down the roads, so you have a lot of law enforcement involved in this, but the organizers, they put so much time and effort into this as well. It's not something that is done very, very easily, I should say. And they just want to make sure, like the Tarrant County Veterans Council president, I know he was talking at one point today, and he said, we start putting this into motion months and months before. You're looking at the Arlington Heights High School band coming up. Can we hear? Do we have audio? Can we? Nope.
No audio. And we should mention this is all live. We've got a camera crew out there who's recording this parade for coverage throughout the day that will be sorted through and edited and used for later. But we're kind of just watching the raw, uncut footage here on our 11 o'clock newscast right now. And we should mention our producer Courtney just sent me the news release about the Grand Marshal for the Veterans Day Parade here in Tarrant County. It's the decorated Vietnam War veteran, Army CW4, Doug Peterson was the Grand Marshal. We saw him stepping off there a minute ago for the Tarrant County Veterans Day Parade. We're checking back in with Dallas here. I think this the Bryan Adams High School band still kind of standing by, ready to go. We thought they were going to be stepping off at 11. It appears they're a little bit behind schedule maybe, or they're just kind of waiting their turn, because sometimes with a parade it can take a while until it's your group's time to step off.
Until you get moving, right? Yeah. They used to do the Dallas Parade on Main Street, and it just got kind of chaotic.
Right,
and they really
in front of City Hall?
They really wanted some more space, and I do think this has really helped them doing it at Fair Park.
And it feels safer, too, just having sort of a designated area that's already blocked off and contained to have everyone in there.
Yeah, and they're trying to get more people to Fair Park, and this is one way to do it, and definitely a nice day for it. Yes, you can see there so we got Fort Worth on the left and the Dallas parade happening on the right. Nice to see so many people have turned out for this.
Yeah, a lot of groups participate in this every single year, and so many family members who want to support veterans or maybe have a veteran in their life come out to watch these events and pay their respects. A lot of people have off work today too, and some schools, I believe, even closed for Veterans Day.
Yeah. They started some schools because they had election day, had to be closed for election day. Chose that day. I think they were kind of deciding between having election day because they had some polls at some of the schools. So some kids have off, some kids don't. But this is for the Tarrant County one. I just read that this is the 50-year anniversary of the end of the Vietnam War. That this parade actually began in 1919, just to recognize a variety of the military units and marching bands. So definitely something that's had a long history and just continues to go. And a nice, again, in Fort Worth, they go down Belknap Street, they go around the Tarrant County Courthouse, Commerce Street, across 5th and Houston Street. So they kind of make a big old circle kind of around the courthouse, so you'd know exactly where this is.
Yeah, and we're going to continue checking in on both of these parades as they sort of make their way through. I know we're sort of waiting for the Dallas Veterans Day Parade to sort of step off so that we can see some more of those groups who are participating here this morning. But earlier this morning in D.C., we saw that the Friends of the National World War II Memorial held a Remember All Veterans during a ceremony there at the Memorial's Freedom Wall. I do believe we have some video of that, of the National World War II Memorial. And that annual observance there called the Parade of Heroes. They also had a wreath-laying ceremony, which you'll see at many of the ceremonies around the area today. And the Friends of the National World War II Memorial, the chairman, Jane Dropa, was saying that the Veterans Day really honors the, quote, heroes of the greatest generation. So nice to see all of those events happening, not only in our area, but of course around the country. And we saw earlier President Trump speaking from the Arlington National Cemetery and giving his speech there this morning, as they have many flyovers and events there as well.
Oh, look at these cute kiddos in Fort Worth. They are bundled up and looking forward to seeing all the different parade goers here. Lots of phones out. Look at that. Lots of people rolling and showing what they're seeing as this parade gets underway in Fort Worth.
Okay, we have some more, looks like another veterans group here getting ready to step off. There in the bottom right corner, again, you're seeing Bryan Adams High School marching band standing by, ready to step off for their time in the Dallas Veterans Day Parade there, right outside of the Hall of State over at Fair Park. I know that Fox 4, we've also been sort of celebrating with veterans with camo today and all of our swag and supporting U.S. vets. Fox for partnering with that organization to try and prevent and end veteran homelessness, asking people to really join in on that effort. We've got, a QR code on our website right here on your screen that you can scan and help support U.S. veterans if you are looking for a way to do that today and a way to give back. Fox sent us a bunch of coffee mugs and hats
Yes,
and
I've got a hat,
all the
shirt.
camo that we could use on our set today. So
Yeah, this parade, the one that's in Fort Worth, is organized by the Tarrant County Veterans Council, and they have been basically chartered since 1971. So they've had an organization there for quite a while, and really have been really just made sure that the Veterans Parade, this annual parade in downtown Fort Worth, goes off. As best it can, and not only honoring veterans, but they've really also focused on spouses and widows and dependents of those who have served in the military as well, which is always nice to see, kind of doing it the Texas way.
Right, and we mentioned this year they're really honoring Vietnam veterans specifically, and then in Dallas, focused on the 75th anniversary of the Korean War as their theme. So kind of focused on two different wars and those veterans specifically, but of course honoring and remembering and celebrating all of the veterans and remembering all of those wars in our country's history.
Well, we just saw Eastern Hills High School. Looks like we've got the band there now.
And we are getting a little bit of audio.
Yeah, is that from
might be
Fort
coming
Worth?
from Dallas or from
That's
Dallas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Our director, Adam, jumping in to let us know what's going on. So it looks like in Dallas, they're kind of at a standstill, but in Fort Worth, they are a-marching.
Marching through downtown Fort Worth. I think the camera crew, the photographer angle that we have right now kind of aimed at the courthouse, right in front of the courthouse. They started over at Panther Island Pavilion and then making their way through downtown, where there are a lot of people out there watching this band go by here today. And there are a lot of course, closures you'll want to watch out for if you're going into downtown Fort Worth anytime soon. See, we've got another group, looks like Air Force group
Maybe
here
a
coming
junior
through.
ROTC group? I don't know. Like it. Oh, we're losing our camera a little bit there. Like we said, we basically put cameras out all over the Dallas-Fort Worth area. There are so many different events. When you look in we have what we call a Today file, and that basically shows all the different events that are happening in our area that we could provide coverage for.
Right.
And our producers and reporters kind of go through and decide what we're going to send cameras to. And we're lucky that here we've got this hour to where we can go and actually see some of these parades starting, and the communities all around us gathering to thank those who've served and thank their families as well.
Right, and we've got reporters out there who will be talking to people in the crowds who are there to just support, and then also of course all morning long we've heard from different veterans and organizers of these parades as they get ready to step off there in Dallas this morning over at Fair Park.
It's interesting because they will allow you basically can go online and you can post to be one of the groups in the parades. And they start taking applications, and then they go through for both of these cities. They go through and they decide who should be in the parade, and a lot of them are schools. A lot of them will be junior ROTC, as we've seen, or the parade, or maybe some of the city council members will be riding in cars or whatever. But they'll go through each of those steps, and they just try to figure out exactly how many spots they need as the procession kicks off, and how many they can take.
Right, and I'm not sure if they want us to kind of keep up these shots of the two parades. I know we're going to be checking in here throughout the hour. But another interesting story that I saw this morning, the former President Barack Obama surprising some veterans this morning on an honor flight. He posted
I don't know if
some
it
of those,
happened this morning or
if it was he posted it this morning.
Yeah,
right. He
yeah,
shared the photos, and they had some video of it as well that they shared early this morning. I saw it on Instagram. I'm sure it's on all the mediums. But those former military members were really shocked when they got off of that flight and saw Barack Obama standing there.
Hello, everybody.
As we approach Veterans Day, I wanted to stop by and just say
Look at that guy's face.
thank you for your extraordinary service.
That's the first time I've seen a president, former or current, greet an honor flight, and that is absolutely amazing. A commander-in-chief, a leader who's going to show up and tell you that your service was worth something. I think that's the important part.
Wow, the one gentleman there with his jaw just almost on the floor.
Well, and I think I've shared this on social media as well, because they really do such a great job of interviewing all of these war heroes. And so one of them's like, I've never met a president in my whole life. I mean, like, just in awe that they're not only did they do this awesome honor flight,
right,
and they got to meet a president as well. We were. Yeah, I had mentioned my kid's great grandfather. He got to go on one of those honor flights, and what they do is simply amazing.
Right.
And they make sure that each veteran has a partner with them. So the person in the blue shirt is kind of their guide through the whole trip.
Right, to look at the different memorials.
So there's
right.
someone there with them the whole time. Because a lot of them will have mobility issues,
right,
or are just older, maybe need to go a little bit slower. But they do such a great job of pairing those veterans with a helper. And they go on this trip, and it is a whirlwind trip. It's not like, let's go and stay for like 3 or 4
right,
days. It's like we go, they do it,
check out the
they
memorials,
go all these things, they spend one night there, and then they fly back.
And then head back, right. And really the goal there for this nonprofit, for Honor Flight, is to allow as many veterans as possible a chance to go see those memorials for the respective wars that they may have fought in, and to be able to see those memorials, to go to Washington, D.C. Maybe they never had the resources to even take a trip to D.C. at all. And I was just reading, a lot of these veterans that they really focus on may have terminal illnesses. Right. And like you just mentioned, disabilities or...
Well, you go through this whole process.
Injuries,
I mean,
right,
it is not, it's a long process they also have doctors that travel with them.
Oh,
so
wow,
it's not, I mean, so they really just make sure that they're doing everything possible to make that 24 hours, 48 hours just so memorable for those veterans. And it truly is. I know our Brandon Todd, my co-anchor on Good Day, he got to go with his dad on an honor flight. So they were able to do that as well. And a lot of them go out of DFW, and there's just like, they make sure there's a cheering crowd.
Right.
When they all come back.
I've covered many honor flights at the airport, yes, as a reporter.
They feel like a superhero
Right,
when they come back. And I think it's just a great time.
And it's great when you're at the airport, and no matter who's there, you're there waiting for your flight, right, or sitting at a restaurant, everybody gets up and lines the walkway there as those veterans are coming through to celebrate them. And so many of the veterans who you interview at those honor flight events or any of these parades or events will say, it's nice to feel this appreciation, because back then, when many of them were in these wars or coming home from war, they didn't feel that kind of appreciation.
Well,
no one said thank you, especially, the Vietnam veterans will say that it's so nice to hear that, because now everyone says, oh, thank a veteran, thank everyone for their service. And then it wasn't like that for them at that time. So it means a lot to them to see that.
We're seeing a lot of local businesses, too, that are stepping up today. I know Chef's Corner in Fort Worth, that was one of the local businesses I know that is offering free chicken and waffles for veterans. There was a couple different restaurants that were saying, if you're a veteran, come in today. We will give you free food. You just show your veteran ID, and you would get complimentary meals there. So it's been interesting to see, as we've had the government shutdown, the restaurants that have stepped up, our local restaurants that really have stepped up. And now we're seeing kind of on Veterans Day, a lot of them doing the same, just to honor and thank those.
Right. So many businesses stepping up, like you said, and other, even like I've seen, the Cowboys Fit Gym we talked about this morning, that they were hosting a carry the load workout. So many businesses and organizations just trying to do something to honor veterans and get everyone in on that within their organizations. They're up in the upper left. You're seeing the Tarrant County Fort Worth Veterans Day Parade there going through downtown Fort Worth. In the bottom right, You see the Bryan Adams High School band just
waiting.
hanging out there. I wonder if they
chilling.
know they're live on TV right now as they're getting
Looks
ready
like
to
some
step
of the
off.
girls are dancing, maybe trying to keep themselves warm.
Yeah.
I heard Lori Brown, a story that Lori Brown had pitched earlier this morning. There's some students at a school in Richardson, and they are honoring veterans in their lives, and they've got 26 veterans going to an elementary school today where they're going to be, just showing those little kids what it means to serve your country. And I did a story about a guy who was turning 100. He was a veteran. He was turning 100, and he went to my son's school, and all the kids were like, he did it on the 100th, like where they celebrate the 100th day of school.
Yep.
And he was turning 100, and all the kids just look at him in awe,
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see that once we get that video in from Richardson, what that event was like with a bunch of pre-K little kids coloring and doing all sorts of stuff. And
probably fun for him too to be around all those
to have
kiddos.
26 veterans in one spot at an elementary school is pretty powerful.
To swap stories.
Yeah.
And share with each other. Okay, so right now you're looking at Fair Park. This is the Dallas Veterans Day Parade. The theme this year, the 75th anniversary of the Korean War. And so many groups taking part this year, some of them waiting to step off here this morning. They're going to have a flyover, a wreath-laying ceremony, and then everyone goes to the Hall of State as well today for this parade.
Yeah, it looks like maybe they've been told to line up, so maybe that's a good sign.
Getting in formation.
I hope so. I hope so. You're looking at the Fort Worth parade looks like we've got some trucks coming on through. Let's see. It's hard to peek in and see what that sign says right there. Submarine veterans. Okay. Oh, wow. So those likely who have served on submarines, which I cannot imagine being a little claustrophobic. I cannot imagine what they went through, but definitely there they are. Nice to see. Wow. One of the things in Dallas I also heard about was the Dallas Mavericks. They're going to be hosting their big Troops Commitment to Service project. And that's where one of the players, Dante Exum. Yeah. He's going to be joining some of the staff and the entertainers, and they're doing like all these hygiene kits for veterans who are experiencing poverty or homelessness. So that's one of the ways we're seeing some of our sports teams as well stepping up. And they're going to be passing those out. That's a local nonprofit that really just, it's called Wise Up Foundation, and it really just helps veterans in our area all across the country as well. And gives them a little pick-me-up, if you will. Right,
and we're taking a live look at the events that are happening now across our area, but also this evening over in Arlington. They have their own Texas Veterans Day Parade there, but they also are doing some military tributes and an evening drone show. That's at 5 p.m. In the heart of the Arlington Entertainment District there. So anyone going through Arlington, you'll probably be able to see that drone show, which those are always so impressive to see. And that's happening this evening, the Texas Veterans Day Parade in Arlington.
That's fun.
Later on today, they'll also have an F-18 flyover there. And over in Coppell at Veterans Plaza, they're going to have the community celebrating a ribbon cutting of the Veterans Plaza, which is a space to honor the veterans and reflect about the service and sacrifice of military members. And that's at 6 p.m. there in Coppell at Veterans Plaza.
Yeah, they're going to do illuminate it for the very first time. And that's it. They'll have refreshments and stuff and a drone show as well, which we always love those drone shows. But really just to turn the lights on and let it shine tonight on this Veterans Day there in Coppell.
First, Grapevine Methodist also hosting a dinner for veterans. So that's another option. 5th annual Salute to Veterans Dinner. That's honoring some of our North Texas veterans and then their guests as well over at the Grapevine Convention Center. So a lot of different organizations and cities hosting events today. We've mentioned the weather is really shaping up for those events today. We see a little bit of a breeze there. I'm sure it's maybe a bit chilly for the ladies there in those skirts and dresses, but but not too bad. We've got the sunshine and blue skies today on this Veterans Day.
Yeah, thank goodness. I see Mineral Wells as I'm taking a look at some of the things that are happening around town as well. Mineral Wells, they're doing a memorial service. They started at 11 as well with a flyover. I'm wondering how many flyovers are happening right now, as it seems like 11 o'clock seemed to be the kind of the key time to kick off a lot of these different events at the Mineral Wells High School is basically where they're doing a big luncheon as well and celebrate that they invited a bunch of the American the different posts in the area will be in attendance too. So nice to see that there's really including a lot of different groups in these events that are happening today.
And you see people there with their cameras out, their phones out, recording the parade there in Fort Worth at the Veterans Day Parade there in downtown Fort Worth. Again, the bottom right part of your screen, you're looking at the Dallas Veterans Day Parade. I mentioned the Carry the Load event earlier. They partnered with Cowboys Fit up in Frisco because normally we talk about Carry the Load for Memorial Day.
Oh, right.
Because they have a bunch of events where people walk through. I think it's the Katy Trail and through some parks where they do their big walk for Carry the Load. But today they're kicking off everything with a 100,000 meter challenge. It's a month-long virtual fitness program for the organization to really show appreciation for people who sacrificed for our freedoms. And so they had about 100 veteran and civilian fitness participants. Take a look here. We had a camera out there. They sent us some video, it looks like, earlier this morning. So they did rowing machines, they did the stationary bikes, they did treadmills and all the other equipment. Looks like Stairmaster, yes.
Right? Like it's not like just today. This is like, hey, we're going to do this.
Right. This is the kickoff event for Carry the Load's 100,000 meter challenge that happens virtually from 11/11 through 12/11. So they start it today on Veterans Day and then carry that through for the next month. So kudos to all of them for getting up early and participating in that this morning.
We're going to have to
Cowboys
check in
Fit.
with them. I'm curious as as they move through this month, what that's going to be like. But those guys, those men and those women that do Carry the Load, they usually are pretty.
They're pretty fit
that's
usually.
Their thing. Did you notice when you drove in this morning, the skyline was all red, white, and blue?
Yes, and I saw the Reunion Tower was lit up. The ball was lit up with the American flag this morning.
The Hunt building was really cool. I posted some video of it. They had like a service member like saluting, kind of like a silhouette.
Oh, wow.
So it was like dark, and then they had the red, white, and blue behind it. So it's interesting to see as our skyline evolves over the years, the different video screens or different colors and lights that they wind up putting up. But it definitely looked like there was a sea of red, white, and blue covering downtown Dallas. I'm sure tonight it will be more of the same.
I always say with our hours coming in so early, I always know which sports team won the night before. I always know what holiday it is or what national day it is or what cause is being celebrated or honored that day based on the Dallas skyline and how the ball and all the Bank of America building and all the others have decorated. And yes, this morning was all red, white, and blue and American flags there for Veterans Day today.
Nice to see.
This morning, Folds of Honor, we also want to talk about. I know that we had Brandon Todd spoke with a scholarship recipient from that group, and it was a great interview.
Well, it's so interesting because they honor they provide scholarships for those who either lost a parent or, a spouse too as well. And this woman that we got to talk to on Good Day this morning, she was so interesting because not only did she receive a scholarship, she got to go to Auburn University on a scholarship because of this, but she also is now a member of the board.
She wanted to pay it forward and give back. Yeah, I think
take a listen.
We have some sound,
Well, this Veterans Day, we're looking at Folds of Honor organization. That's an organization that provides scholarships to the spouses and children of fallen and disabled service members and first responders. Sarah White Duncan joining me to talk about it. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
So I really love your perspective on this because not only are you a scholarship recipient, but now you serve on the board of this organization.
Yes, I've been involved at many different levels. I received a scholarship from the Folds of Honor. My dad was Captain Dennis Michael White of the United States States Air Force, who lost his life Easter weekend of 1995 in a training accident flying the F-15E, and was super blessed to receive a scholarship from the Folds of Honor. And I graduated from Auburn University in 2011, moved to Dallas randomly, and about that time they were starting a chapter. So I was blessed to be asked to serve on the board and have enjoyed kind of helping on the other side of the organization.
Right. Well, because when you're at that age and you're even with your parents, I mean, looking for a scholarship or trying to get scholarships, preparing for college, that's a nightmare in and of itself. But having to do that in a situation where it's hard to even think about anything else.
Yeah, and I think a lot of civilians think and assume that surely our military families and our Gold Star families are taken care of, and unfortunately that's just not really the case. And in fact, the Folds of Honor was the only, outside of a local grant, it was the only financial assistance that I received for my education through my dad's sacrifice. And so it was a huge financial relief for my mom and I, and just was a tremendous blessing.
So how, do you think a lot of recipients are surprised about that, or some families maybe even shocked to hear that?
Absolutely, and it's a close-knit community, the military community, and so I feel like now, when I first got the scholarship, the Folds was really in its infancy. It was a year or two old, so there wasn't a lot of awareness about it, but nowadays, thanks to Fox 4 and people like you, were able to spread that awareness, and more people are becoming aware. Now we actually have, for the past several years, we've had more qualified applicants apply than we have the funds to fill every scholarship. So unfortunately, we do have to turn people away, which is not ideal.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, it sounds like you got a lot of sort of a service mentality from your father.
Absolutely. One of my favorite verses is John 15:13 that says, greater love has no man than this, than to lay down a life for a friend. And I think even if you're not making the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom, I think that there's plenty that we can all take away from that, to love our brothers and our neighbors and serve by laying down our own life and choosing to be selfless and give back to those in need.
Good verse, great message. I love that. All right, so tell me about this gala. You've got this huge thing Saturday night at AT&T Stadium.
Yes, sir.
What's that going to look like?
So we'll have about 1,600 people on the field at AT&T Stadium. We have a big goal, and it should be a lot of fun. There will be service members in the crowd, obviously scholarship recipients, incredible donors, fellow board members. It'll be amazing.
And a lot of fun, but for a good cause. You're raising money for these scholarships.
Yes, absolutely. And like I said, the need is great, so it's really important.
So how many people will be recipients?
So I think this year we'll have over 13,000 scholarship recipients.
Wow.
Which is unbelievable. Just this year alone. And then next year, hopefully more. It grows every year.
Wow. So the money raised now kind of would go to pay it ahead.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Wow, that's a good. Well, we want to let folks know this year's Folds of Honor Gala. Okay, so it's sold out, but you can still donate, right? You guys are open to donations, and they can go to your website, I imagine.
And you can even become a wingman for $13 a month.
Okay.
Which is a great way to give back to those that have sacrificed so much to protect our freedom. And you can do that by visiting northtexas.foldsofhonor.org, and it'll stay local. The money will go to local recipients.
Okay, we got a link to that on our website, fox4news.com.
It was so sweet when she got done talking. I said, well, so what'd you think about Auburn? She's like, I loved it. It was awesome. And she really just was so thankful for that organization, but also just thankful, I think, to be surrounded on that board by people who have either walked in her shoes or have known someone who has lost a loved one.
I think what really stood out to me too in that interview is when she said, so many people just assume that military families are taken care of, but they're not.
Right.
And when a loved one, when a veteran dies, and their children and their families are still here, they need that support from organizations like that.
Oh boy, do they ever! Yeah, I think a lot of them live on bases too, and you think that that base has enough support, and
Not
really,
always.
I mean, they may have a commissary, they may have the BX they can go to that that provides food and stuff, but a lot of times they simply don't have what is needed.
We're taking a live look right now at the Dallas Veterans Day Parade. They stepped off here just a few moments ago. We've got a junior ROTC group, it looks like they're marching. See some local marching bands and dance groups that'll be coming through. Some city and state leaders as well. Our photographer who is out there, David Tafoya, was just texting me saying, they had a ceremony already in the wreath laying, and then of course the parade just now kicking off there over at Fair Park, going in front of the Hall of State here this morning.
Let's listen.
Hear the wind there as well.
Oh my,
Picking
can
up.
you ever? Yeah, we saw, here we go, some class act
Tap Company.
Yes.
Also a tap dance group.
Oh, look at them. Hello. Gosh, they look beautiful, don't they?
Great outfits at the American flag vests there. Okay, in your upper left hand of your screen there, you're seeing the Fort Worth Veterans Day Parade going through downtown Fort Worth in front of the courthouse. They stepped off a little bit before the Dallas parade.
This year here in Dallas is a company, pilot company. Interesting to see some of the different organizations that have stepped up too. Businesses that really want to make sure that those who have served, because a lot of times you'll be serving in the military and then you've finished your time, and then it's unclear. You then have to do this huge switch of, okay, now what am I going to do, like in civil service? Now, what am I going to do, now that my commitment's done? And a lot of these companies will go in and they will try to tap into those who have served their time, who got all of this knowledge and skills in the military to then hopefully benefit their company. And so it's a whole hiring process. A lot of these companies work with the different military branches and have a constant pool of people coming in from the military that they hire.
Right. You just saw the Kimball High School marching band. Now looking at a James Madison high school group right here coming through at the Dallas Veterans Day Parade. And we also want to talk about some of the other businesses that are honoring veterans with deals today. Lucky's in Dallas. Honoring those who've served with a complimentary meal. You just have to have your valid military ID, and you go in there and get a free meal. Krispy Kreme, of course, as always, honoring the veterans and active military personnel with a free small coffee, hot or iced, and a free donut as well. Of course, Starbucks, Chipotle, La Madeleine, Salad and Go, BJ's restaurants, all of them have deals as long as you have your military ID today.
Yeah, OpenAI announcing that it's offering vets and service members who are preparing to leave the military access to ChatGPT Plus for a year. The company, again, just really wanting to help that veteran transition from military to the civilian workforce. So they have like the free ChatGPT access that can help them.
And if you have
do all sorts of
the
things.
Plus, ChatGPT Plus, I mean, it's great.
So it helps you write a resume. You can practice interviews with questions. So they have a lot of housing, education, relocation, finances too. So it kind of helps you get some extra support that you might need. If you're going through that transition. Here's another junior ROTC. It looks like Garland Marine Corps junior ROTC walking on through.
Yeah, we see lots of groups here today. Some bands, some dance groups. I think I hear a drum line there in the distance coming through. That's part of the Dallas Veterans Day Parade.
And this is going to wind all the way through Fair Park, as we mentioned earlier. This used to be right in downtown, right on Main Street, and it just kept growing. I think that they were like, oh gosh, what can we do? We're having to shut down downtown, the heart of the city. And then they started moving it to Fair Park, and it does seem like this is a good location for them.
There's been a big push, as you mentioned, to get more events over at Fair Park and get more people to take advantage of that area. And I think it's a perfect place for a parade since it's all contained and they have a lot of large space that isn't used.
Yeah, we've been talking about some of the different things. If you look, there's events all over that are happening today. If you can't make it today, something else you can do is go to Plano. They've got all those flags that are out at Oak Point Park, and that's something cool to see.
All right. Well, thank you all to the veterans, the men and women who've served our country on this Veterans Day, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
1, 2. That's right. Sorry to ruin the angle.